All right. Hello, everybody. I would love to know if you can hear me. So post a comment below if you can hear me. That would be great. All right. So, what I'm going to do today is the apple blossoms. And here we go. I have a sketch on here. It's kind of hard to see, but once I start getting paint on there, you'll be able to see it. So what I'm going to do first is I already wet the back. I wanted it to really soak in. So this is a cold pressed watercolor paper. Oops. Mute. Okay, I had to mute myself. Whoops. Okay. So anyway, this is cold pressed watercolor paper. I put putting a lot of water on there first, really get it to soak in because this is the 300 pound, means it's a little thicker than the other watercolor paper, 140 pounds. So this is pretty thick, so it's gonna absorb a ton. I've just got some lint on here. Get that off, get that off. Okay. Okay, one more kind of layer, even layer of water. There we go. Now what I'm gonna do is just kind of blot around. Now this is gonna be really loose. This is good, and I haven't done flowers in a while, so, you know, bear with me. But this is gonna be really loose. I'm, just picking up a little bit of the water that I put down because I don't want hard edges. I'm not gonna use masking fluid. I'm just gonna go around the areas. I'm gonna go around the apple blossoms with a blue for the background, like a blue, green kind of a background, similar to the reference photo. If you want to see the reference photo, it's on Pixabay, which is pixabay.com. And if you just pull up apple blossoms, it'll probably come right up. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get some paint on here because it's hard to see what I'm doing. I have my blues ready to go. I'm doing ultramarine to start. I'm sticking with some warm blues. And I'm gonna stick with some kinda yellowish greens. Here we go. I probably should have had this ready to go a little bit before I started. I think what I'm gonna do too is I'm not gonna do a traditional brush. I'm actually gonna just splatter a little bit. I think it just kinda looks really cool when you just splatter and you're not using your brush. I'm just kinda being careful where I'm going, and then what I'm gonna do is add a little green, uh, or some leaves in the background, right? And there's this cool gold color over here, reference photo, so I may do a little something like that. Now what I'm gonna do is add a little green. Now this is kind of an opaque green. I'm trying out this new green lately. It's, oxide of chromium. I never had this green before, so I'm checking it out. I like it. It's a little opaque. You can see the palette there. It's pretty thick, so we'll see what happens. Just gonna splash. And if it gets in the apple buds, I'm just gonna blot it up. It's really kinda not that big of a deal. Let's see. Yeah, this is a pretty opaque green. I think that's kind of about it. That's what I'm gonna do. Add some more water. Again, this is 300-pound, uh, paper, so it can take a ton of water, like a ton. And then while this is really wet, there are apple blossoms kinda back here. So what I'm gonna do, add up a little bit, is get some of the color is that I'm using for the apple blossom. Sorry, okay. Uh, Quinacridone magenta, Winsor Newton. That's what let me just kind of tilt. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. Let me know in comments if, you can hear me or if I'm out of camera. 'Cause this part of the painting, you kinda gotta work fast and pay attention, so I'm just gonna let it bleed together. I'm gonna try to save a little bit of the white paper up here, but I don't want it too dark back there. So I'm gonna clean up here. Let's see, clean up, and then I just love this part of it's kind of, abstract watercolor pouring, right? You know how you do acrylic pouring? This is kinda watercolor pouring, and then, you wanna kinda create like a bouquet effect, take your tissue, and you can just kind of pick up a little bit and maybe drop a little water in there, drop a little pigment in there. This is all gonna dry a lot lighter than what you see. So that's kinda cool, that effect. I'm gonna leave this try to leave that white so you have kind of, the really light values, the super white, and then, when I get the leaves in, I will, get some darker values in there, and I'm just gonna pick up this edge here a little bit. I think I'll put a little bit more blue, that green kinda took over on this side. So I think I'm just gonna do a touch more of ultramarine, drop it in there, see if that stays, and then there's a branch right there, and I'm not too worried about the blue going into the branch because the branch is gonna be brown, so I'm just gonna cover. But this is, where one of the petals is, and it's white, so I'm gonna be a little extra careful going around there. Maybe I'll get a nice bleed, just enough petal. But I gotta tell you, this is so fun. This is, like, the best part of watercolors, right? Doing the background and, um, just playing and staying loose. So I'm gonna get kinda close. This is a green leaf, so I'm not too worried about the blue in the green leaf. I really just kinda wanna keep the main part I wanna keep white is this petal right in here, or this flower, um, right in here, bloom. So I'm just gonna kinda be careful with that, and let me just get in that corner, and here we go. And let's see, let's just do a touch of green in there. I'm actually gonna do a little yellowish green, 'cause this green is looking kinda dark, so I'm gonna brighten it up just a touch. This is a branch right here, so I'm not too worried about that. Get kind of a different green in there, see how that looks. Then I'm gonna blend this in with oh, hey, Joyce. Yay. Okay, thank you for letting me know. I'm not sitting here just talking to the walls or my girls, my doggies. They don't really listen anyway. Okay, so there, kind of fun. It's gonna get a little green too. Okay, so I'm gonna just let this be over here, and, I'm gonna kind of figure out what I'm gonna do with this side. Let me pick up some of this excess down here. Anybody has any questions? I got my eye on the chat. Um, I'm using a new, uh, kind of a app or whatever for live stream, so I'm kinda getting used to seeing it. It's a little different, but anyway, let me know if you have any issues. I would love to hear how you're liking this. So, I'm so excited for spring. I just, I had to do something fun, and I thought, "Why not go live?" So, I know it's last minute, but what the heck, right? It's kind of fun to paint and talk and not just, you know, sit here alone. Not that I'm alone, but I enjoy it. I'm starting classes too. I have to admit, I did wanna do this for a little promotion of my in-person, uh, watercolor classes in, St. Charles, Illinois, at the, Potawatomi Community Center. So, if you're in that area, there are spaces still available. Okay. Um, and you can just go to my website, mollysfineart.com. Okay, enough of the promo. So what I'm thinking, I have okay, this is New Gamboge, and then this is another cool color that I'm into is a burnt orange. So I think what I'm gonna do is get those 2, and I don't have a ton of space here. So what I'm gonna do is just drop it in nice and wet, and, it's I see the benefit of mixing on the paper instead of mixing in your well. I mean, certain colors, you do wanna mix, like, you wanna make a green or something like that, but, there really is kinda something to say for when your colors mix with the paper, you just get a different effect. Just adding a ton of water, 'cause I want this to be super blurry. And if I get too much, I can always use the spray bottle, which I might use here. Um, you can use a spray bottle, I use it a lot for backgrounds, so that I think it might need a little spray. I don't want these little spots here, I don't want those to get dark. I don't want this to get too dark and take away from in here, so, okay, very good, and then there's a just for a little contrast, I think I might, do something kinda dark in there, because the reference photo, there's a little dark value in there, and I think it kinda breaks it up, so I've got, a little bit of the orange, and I think I'll do a touch of Van Dyke brown with that orange and a lot of water, and just splatter would be better. I can just pick it up. Splatter, and this again, this dries so light, I'm not really worried about it. I really like that yellow right there. I'd go and just put more of that yellow, wherever that yellow came from. Not sure where it is. Okay, so that's probably good right there. I'm just gonna let all that dry, and, I'm probably gonna have to do the dryer just to speed it up. Sometimes it's nice if you have time to let it naturally dry for a while. just kinda let the water go where it goes, but I don't feel like waiting around. Oh, I do there is this little area should be blue. Let me just before I put it on the dryer, I wanna get because there are 2 leaves right here. There's a leaf yeah, let me get a little more blue right in here because that will help define the leaves as well. Blue. Okay, and a touch of a little purpley 'cause it's pretty. Okay. Oh, we have a few viewers. Thank you for joining. This is kind of fun. Okay. Alright. Yep, now, like I said, this is gonna dry a lot lighter, so I'm going to I will mute myself, and I've got my, oh, there's, like, a hair in there. Shoot. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself here, and real quick while I do the dryer. Stand by. Okay, I'm back. So I basically just wanted to make sure well, this was really dry and then for the buds up there. So I think what I'm going to do first, just kind of warm up with the colors and everything. I'm going to do the buds up here first. And I could probably zoom in just a little bit, down a little lower. Okay. Oops. Oops. Alright, I'm back. I think I'm back now. Hopefully that worked. I think, when I muted my mic, it just whatever. Okay, so I'm getting in some of the, buds here, and while the paper is still it's kinda damp, it's not too wet, it's kinda damp. So, I'm just gonna get on another layer. The first layer. I'm gonna definitely do a couple layers of the buds. And this is really loose. This isn't perfect, realistic, like that. Okay, good. Then I love the cauliflower effect or the blooming effect, so purposely kinda do that. Just dropping some water in there, and while that kinda takes effect and I watch what happens there, I'm gonna get in some of the, green leaves. So I kind of, have a little mixture here. I'm gonna add a little yellow. There's a leaf that I put there and goes down, and a couple leaves over here. Let's go a little more yellow. And it's all about layering, right? Watercolor is layer, 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 kinda like colored pencils. So these are the first layers, and you kinda gotta be a little patient, let dry, see what the water does. Let the watercolor paint work for you and the water work for you. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna just okay, good. Oh, that's awesome. You can take it away if you don't like it. I just wet it and then I blotted it with some tissue. Go. And I actually have I pulled out some watercolor pencils that I have, figure for, it's kind of a cool effect when the flower is wet to do, like, a little bit of an outline with watercolor pencils. So, I will probably be doing some of that a little later. Okay, and then let me get another bit of green. Now, kind of a fun tip to get a green is and I never thought of doing this, but I actually really like it, using black mm, black in another palette here, is mixing up black with a yellow, and you get some of the coolest greens doing that. So, there's, like, a deeper forest green almost, which is really pretty. So and then because it has a yellow in it, when you put yellow, you add, like, some yellow highlights, it looks really good, it's really natural, so okay, there's a leaf over here I'm gonna do. We're going right over the branch because the branch is brown, so we're going right over the branch, and there's some really fun highlights in here, the way the sun is hitting some of the leaves and the flowers, so I definitely wanna try to get some of those, like, there's a great right in there, uh, and go a little darker, I can add a little black or a little Payne's gray or something like that. That's that opaque green that, I like adding a little Payne's gray or neutral tint to darken up any color, really. So this leaf is in, it's in the shadow. I want it kinda dark. I don't want it the edges just a little bit over here, I'll add a little yellow, but okay, and then each detail. So, I'll let that dry for a second and we'll get brighter green or yellowy green or, just kind of like this mix here of all there's just like a whole bunch of leaves and flowers and apple blossoms. So, I'm just gonna do that, and then we'll get to these buds. Just want this to kinda dry for a bit while I get these buds. I'm gonna do a little yellow there, a little yellow there. Okay, great. Now, I'm gonna start with this one. I'm going to get a little opera rose, and with a lot of water, I'll drop in there, and it's a little different color than it's a little lighter, it's like it's about to bloom. I'm gonna kinda keep it like that. Add a little water, 'cause I like the bloom effect, and then that's just the first layer, and then I'll do another layer to get, like, the petals starting to open up. Okay, and then I'll do that. And we have one more little bloom right there. Yeah, this is kind of a detailed one to do for a live session. It's gonna take a while, but, I will definitely post the finished one if I don't finish it today. I'm just gonna leave that, let that bleed. I really like that kind of effect. Let that dry, and then I will add the petals, like the darker values for the petals. And I think I'm gonna add a little green while it's still wet. So I have this kind of pretty yellowy green here. So hopefully it's enough. These petals going down to big stem. I should probably put the big stem in there now so we can kind of get an idea of what's happening. And then this one has a nice leaf out. Just a touch more green. Just a darker green while it's wet. So it blends. And there's some petals here. And then there's a big petal right here. Mm. Ooh, I got a little dark. I don't know if you can see I'm making this green. There we go. Well, thanks for sticking with me if you're still here after my mic situation, my mic drop. No, I know. I have to manually, um, turn the mic back on the computer. I did it, on the actual mic. I turned it off, so anyway, living and learning, right? Living and learning. Okay. Now, this leaf right here is a lot darker. Ooh, it's a lot of Payne's gray. So I love adding Payne's gray 'cause it's a blue base to leaves to get the dark. That was pretty dark, but you know what? It's gonna dry a lot later. So, I'm just gonna lift up a touch and then maybe a little more, and I love the bleed that's happening to the other leaves, and then I thought put just a touch of it in these stems, and then this one. Okay. Kinda looks like a hot mess, but it will come together, when you get a little more detail in there, and I think I'm ready. I'm gonna do this stem now because then it'll kind of come together. Okay, and this leaf, this is looking a little too. I don't want these edges to be so hard. So it's still wet, so I'm purposely gonna drop water in there and get the bloom effect. Yeah, I don't want it that dark, so I'm just gonna kinda lift up a little bit and move it around. That's fine. I'm just gonna dry it. And then I have to do the stem. The stem, like, goes right. That's pretty much when the stem is there. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is grab a little Van Dyke brown and just start with the stem. If I use it here, it's gonna it just wet it. That probably wasn't the best idea. Let's try it again. Start down here with the stem then. I have a little bit of a drawing in there, my sketch, but it's kinda lost. So I can kinda see it goes about right there. Yeah, and then this one goes up to here, kinda there. Great. We've got a little there we go, and then I'm gonna probably add, like, a burnt sienna or, let's see, a reddish color because it's getting a little bit of a reflection of the petals, and then I think I'm gonna have to turn it. Get a little right here. I think that's about right. Let's do pick up just a little bit so we have highlights there, and then there's a little highlight over here, like the sun just hitting it really good. So that looks good. I probably should have dried the, leaf here a little bit, but I'll work over here and get a little darker right here. So, can you put in the chat where you're watching from? That would to see where everybody's watching from, assuming I'm not seeing myself that people watching or listening, watching and or listening. Alright, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do the red, um, orangey red color. Okay. Put some orange over here. See it? Gonna drop in some orange, colors that makes the brown look real pretty, and then I might just drop in some pink, to represent the reflection of the buds. So I'm just gonna drop in some opera rose, kind of over here. Just I think that's gonna look pretty. A little bit over here would kinda look nice, especially since it's wet. Little bit and then, of course, I see another color. I see blue, basically representing the sky, the blue in the background. So what I think I'm gonna do is part wet and then just drop in a little bit of the blue, green. There we go. And just let all this dry and see what happens. We have a little bit of a little knob right there. Get a darker color. And I always notice that wherever the branches split, it's a lot darker, whether it's a shadow, um, you know, it just there's just switch changes in the branch. So I'm gonna try to represent that a little bit. And then while it's wet up here, just a touch of dark. This is like, sepia with a little blue. Okay, so now we're getting a little structure in here, right? Oh, it's okay. What I think I'll do is I've got a leaf here I have to do, drawn in, but it's hitting the light, so there's a big difference in the values, like, it's really yellow over here, practically white right here, and then over here where it's in shade, pretty dark, and it's kind of folding over, so it's kind of a good, interesting leaf there. And let's see, we have a little shadow there. Oh, let's see what happens with that. What I'll do is I'll put a drop of water right in the middle and just let it fan out. There we go. Okay, so now let's get to the star of the show, which is this guy. Girl. This is really not dry. I'm gonna just kinda oh, it's actually drier than I so this I'll probably go over with some colored pencils over here, watercolor, sorry, for maybe just a tiny little detail, something like that. But I'm gonna wait till it's a little bit it's pretty wet. Just gonna wait till it's a little dry, but I have the Caran d'Ache aquarels out and ready to go for some quick detail, especially with, the petals. So, but I'm gonna do this first. That will be, like, final details. Okay, so my water is pretty dirty. Switch over here because this is white. I don't want it to green water, but I kinda do already. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is wet first. So we have petals on top of petals, right? So what I'm gonna do is do the back petals first and then dry, and then do the petals over it. So that way you kinda get, the illusion, the effect that the petals are on top of each other. So this is just water. It's got a little and this is behind. So I'm just kinda this petal is behind these 2, and then this petal I'm just gonna get these 2 petals first. Is the and funny, this petal, it's white. There's definitely pink in there, but there's a lot of gray. So, usually when you wanna represent white, you do gray, right? Well, I guess it all depends. Blue, it all depends. I'm gonna kinda go out and go over here, and this one, I'm going there, this one right there, okay? Then I'm gonna drop in like a little, blue gray, and then if I got too much on there, I'm just gonna pick it up, or I can blot with the tissue. There we go. Blotting with the tissue right away is kind of a good effect, so it's a good technique. You know what I'm saying. Okay, and let's see, blot a little there, blot a little there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dry these just for a sec because I don't want that to get I'm not gonna need this time. The mic probably can't pour it out super quick. Okay, that's good. Super quick. Now what I'm gonna do is take a little bit of gray and pink that I have for this petal and go right over it. So the petal behind it kinda peeks through a little bit. This petal is actually full. I don't know if I can represent that, but I can try. And I think I'm gonna do a little pink right here. Okay. This side is dark because this, pod is behind it. So I'm gonna kinda leave this dark right there. Then I'm gonna pick up a little bit with tissue. And you can also, if you wanna get some of the veins in the petal, you can use like a little toothpick, which I'll probably do later, or we can just, while it's still wet, while it's damp, basically, we can get some edging. There we go. And then you won't have super hard lines, so here's some okay, so that's all gotta dry. Let's go to this one. It's just a really pretty blue-gray. So this right here is a bud that's behind it. So I'm not gonna do anything with it. I just wanna do these petals. Okay, and then this one. This one's in a lot of shadow. And, they're not gonna match the color perfectly in the reference photo, but as long as I get the values set, I think okay. I'm just mixing up a little grayish. I don't want it to get too dark. There we go. This little purpley blue gray is kind of fun. I'm gonna add a little more blue. It's getting a little there we go. Because the blue is representing the color of the sky. They're kind of facing upward towards the sky. Yeah, and I thought the color pencils or the watercolor pencils would be good for the the stamen, like the yellow part in the middle there. Okay, so I'm gonna just dab with some water, top part here, dab with a little water. There's actually, particle and I'm gonna lift up a little bit. Yeah, good. Oh, Plainfield, Illinois. Hello, Plainfield. Thanks for watching. Excellent. Plainfield. Did you guys get the tornado really bad? The one we had last week or a few weeks ago? It was about a mile from us here in St. Charles. Geneva got it pretty bad. I mean, nothing, no damage, but it was loud. It was loud. So it was around us for sure. So you can kinda see that what I did there, I added water, and then I'm just picking it up again over second layer with the watercolor pencils and do a little bit more detail. So you can do more or less detail that you want. And when I put the stamen, they look at those, it's gonna be good. So I gotta decide here. I'm gonna just add water, bit of a drawing there. So try to get the petals that are opening up, and it's so funny, I didn't realize this. There's a bug on one of the petals. I didn't really have a look at it that hard. Uh, so I'm gonna do that opera rose. I'm gonna drop in a little bit of this magenta for the edge of the petal, and then there's another petal right here. So, like, this is the center, it's all white in the middle. So I'm gonna try to keep that middle part white. Alright, there we go, and then get some green around it. And there's actually a little, mm, like, a little leaf petal right up there, a pretty reddish color. It's so I'm gonna do that. Now, let's add some, of the leaves. I'm gonna add this one. I'm gonna get my green, a little black and yellow green. A little too much water. Go. Okay. Go. And there's a leaf here, yeah, here, a couple leaves. These are kind of really more yellow based. So, oh, my yellow, get my yellow to come out and play. Here we go. Yeah, this is just kind of a good practice one to play around with. It's especially when you do wet on wet, it's forgiving, you know? I mean, granted, I got a lot more to do, but, as far as layers, I kinda like how you're really paying attention to this side. I kinda like this yellow that's going on over here. So, let's kinda do a little wide view, see if I can back it up a little bit. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see. So, just a little yellow right in there. And then so, like, my example, with the tooth um, one, can't find the toothpick, but if you take something sharp, even the other side of your brush, and, I just grabbed this pencil, holder, you can do the veins of the leaves, so you can granted, they'll be dark, so if your veins are light, you might wanna, because some of the veins in here are light here, but who's gonna know, right? And you can just do, something simple like that, and you can do that with a toothpick. Um, this has so this leaf is a little folded, that's wet, at least kinda then you can do this vein in here, so you can pick it up, or use gosh, I've actually used sometimes because the dampness of the paper was so good, I've used it. Anyway, oh, here's my toothpick. Yay, I found the toothpick. So this one's wet, but I don't think it'll work. This is a little slippery, but I'm getting a little something. And then we can get the light to go there. A little glare on there, but anyway, so we can do a and you can also do it for the flowers. Oops, that one's still wet. So now we can get, like, part of the petal in there. So anyway, that's just something to play with. I did this technique worked really well when I was doing the sunflowers in my last video. So, um, okay, I think what I'm gonna do is drop in a touch because this guy needs some structure. It's not looking too great. So I'm gonna just drop in a touch of color right there. It's gonna be a kind of a warmish yellow. This is winter. And that way it gives just a little bit of a touch of the orange. So that won't take over. Hopefully, they'll just blend together and take up too much. It's something it needs a little different color in there. Okay, good. I kinda like how the green actually bled in there, but I'll lift up some of that. Now my brush is damp. There's no color on it, and I just lift it up. It's kind of turning into a bud, but this is where the toothpick would come in. I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna just do veins here because there are some really super fine little veins on the bud. And do some veins there, and I can even put a little more color on the watercolor and soak into the veins. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it just kinda soaks right into the veins, the little marks that I did. So see what a difference that is when you do this is the second layer, how much brighter it's gonna be, and then this goes all the way down in there, and then that's just a kind of little bud there, and we can get over here, I'm just gonna start getting the second layer in. It's just basically values. This is all about values now, and you can go as loose, kind of as dark as you want. I'm kinda drop in a little color here, and really I'm just dropping in a little color on the edges of the flower, and I'm gonna do a lot more water so I don't have the super hard edges. Pretty much what it's all about is controlling your edges and the watercolor. Controlling your edges, controlling your water and all that, of course, but soft and hard edges. Okay, and then that gets pretty shadowy in there, kinda blue. Let's see if we can mix some kind of shadow color here. Basically use great shadow is, the opposite, so or a nice usually a really pretty gray is burnt sienna with, ultramarine blue. It's like the prettiest gray ever. Okay. Okay. Pretty blue-gray. Let's see. I don't think that'll be too dark because it's gonna dry on them. And then this petal is actually on over that one, overlapping that one. It's really dark right in there, and this one is really dark. So, kind of closer you get to the center, the darker it gets because of the shadow, and then it gets a little green in the center, so I'm gonna drop a little green in there. Alright, everybody following? Oh, thanks. Thanks for watching, Julie. Yep, I will be posting the replay. Okay. And let's see, a little dark under here. The petals that are, like, folded up, those are the hardest, those are challenging. I'm gonna do a drop of water right there. I like the bloom effect. I just like it, and then extend this white highlight there to try to get the middle. So you can see I'm trying to get the to make it look like the petal is over is folded up, but, it doesn't happen. No one's gonna know. Say, "Yeah, it kinda looks like a flower." Okay. I'll take it. I'm gonna do a little bloom here, drop just water drop in there. Okay, and water drop there. Okay, let's see, and then I kinda this petal right here is hard edges, right? So I didn't soften those edges up. Um, if I wanna soften them up, I can just add some water and soften them up. I mean, it's not gonna look the same. It's not gonna your white is gonna be gone. You'll never get the white of your paper back, but I actually wanna add a little gray here, otherwise it kinda looks funny with all the other gray, and then a little bit outline just to okay, well, there's a shadow right here from the other petal, which it just I'm just going too fast, not really working. exactly like you wanted, but that's okay. Okay, adding water. Okay, I think now I'm gonna do some of the watercolor pencils and, get a little bit more detail in there. You can kinda see how the branch is drying, and if you wanna do we can do, like, some highlights on the branch, but, yeah, I think that looking alright. Okay, what I'm gonna do with the watercolor pencils is I've got, this is a purplish red, so what I'm gonna do is just get a little bit get some more of the veins. Now you can use this too with, a small watercolor brush, but kinda like or Q-tip, kinda like what we did over here. But the fun thing with the watercolor pencils is that when you put it on the wet paper, it kinda blends out, and it looks really nice. It doesn't look, it's a little easier for me too sometimes to draw. So this is a little wet still, it's not totally wet. So I can kinda just, like with the pencil, I can kinda put the pieces of the puzzle together. So you drop in the watercolor, and then you can just add a little bit here or there. Like I said, put a little bit more of the piece of the puzzle together for a little bit more detail, and it comes together. And then if you want to wet it, you wet it. You don't have to wet it, but I'll wet this, activate it, so something like that. And then the same goes for, uh, the green. Oops, let me get a better green here. This is a phthalo green. Me so I didn't do any kind of the I love doing the base of the flowers. I think they're just so pretty. So we can do that with the watercolor pencils. Just fill in the green, and then this way you kinda have a little more control over where you're putting your colors, and we'll just add that right in there. And I'll put both of the colors right there next to each other, and then this is fanning out. Then we go and activate, and then that just kinda gives you a little bit more control. When it's wet, you can kinda see when it's wet, how much darker. I wet the paper, and then see how much darker it got? If you wanna go really dark in some areas and you want kind of like a hard line, some detail, that's where watercolor comes pencils come in, and then also they'll fan out as well, like, they'll blend as well when they're wet. So it's kind of cool. There. So that's kind of a nice bud. We've got a decent bud there. Yeah. Okay. Then we'll do the same thing for this one, but is kind of I put this bud kind of in the background and, I really don't want too much detail on this one, but we'll kinda make it a little just a little bit, and then a little bit more of the green, a little petal there, fill it in, a little petal there, in the base, and then activate. There we go, and it looks really pretty a lot of times with, a little, red, the base there. That's kinda like peonies. Peonies, oh my god, they have the beautiful stems and bases, and you mix them, the green with, like, a quinacridone, it looks so pretty. So there's that, darker there. Then the green blends right in, the red. Okay, there's one petal, and then so that's basically your second layers, right? So, you really kinda have to be patient with watercolor with your first layers, and it's if you're a color pencil artist, you kinda know, um, that it's really just all about the layers, and it's all about values, but it's all about the layers. So this is a quinacridone red for this petal, and let's see, I'm gonna do the bloom here, drop in water and let it do its thing. I hope that was in camera, sorry if that was out of camera. And then for kind of speed's sake, um, I'm just gonna add some green. I'm not gonna do the pencils, just keep adding the green, and then there's a really cool, I'm gonna grab another palette, 'cause my green here my palette just isn't big enough for all these greens. Okay, there. I wanted a nice green. There, there. Okay, I know it's coming up on an hour, so I might be wrapping it up here soon. You can kinda see that, and then, okay, yep, bye, Joyce, thank you, I'm gonna wrap it up here, and, thank you everybody for watching, really appreciate it. I think the buds are turning out okay, and then when this dries, I'm gonna, do the second layers on this, and this will come to life. So, thank you for watching, everybody. This was fun, painting spring. I appreciate it, and, Facebook Live people, thank you for watching. I don't think I've this is my first Facebook Live, so thanks for watching, everybody. Okay, bye.